Hello, friends. It's John Lowen King, and welcome to episode number 9 of From Profits to Properties, where we help you with tactics to help take your business to the next level and grow your profits, and then give you ideas on how to take those profits and turn it into long-term wealth through buying properties, whether it's your primary residence, if you're a first-time home buyer, upgrading to a larger home, or building a portfolio of investment properties where the tenant can pay your property payment for you and help you to grow your property and your wealth long-term. So today we're going to talk about assistance. In every single episode, I spend the first part talking about business tactics, and the second part I talk about lending and real estate and property ownership tactics. And we're going to talk about assistance and getting assistance in both arenas. So from the business perspective, we're going to talk about going from a me business to a we business. And when are you ready? What does it take? How do you get there? What should you be focused on? And then during the lending side, the real estate side, I'm going to talk about down payment assistance and helping people overcome the biggest hurdle that prevents people from becoming a homeowner in the first place. Most renters that I talk to, their number one challenge is down payment. Getting into a home and having enough money to pay the down payment, to pay the closing costs, that's their biggest challenge. Second, followed close behind by affordability when it comes to monthly payment, especially with interest rates the way they are today. But let's go ahead and dive in, first of all, on the business side of things, the tactical side of how do you get assistance within your business, and specifically, how do you grow from an I business to a we business? Many people, most businesses start out as a solopreneur. You're an individual entrepreneur that is starting your business on your own. Often it starts out as a side gig, as something you're doing as an extra business, as extra income to see if it's going to work out. And then the evolution says, okay, now I'm gonna do full time. Like I'm ready to dive in, to rip off the Band-Aid, to take off the water wings and jump into the deep end of the pool so that I can either sink or swim. But you're afraid to take that next step. You're afraid to say, I'm gonna take on somebody else, because it's one thing to let yourself down. I know that you're probably, thinking, well, John, I'm not just letting myself down, I'm letting my family down. But it's a whole nother thing to add the extra burden of having actual expenses, significant expenses, every single month. Now, I did a prior episode where I talked about virtual assistants and stuff like that. That's not where I'm going. I'm going with today the physical hiring of a body. When do you convert from an I business to a we business, and how do you do it? So first of all, that comes into the thinking of efficiency versus expansion. And I mentioned this on an earlier episode, but many people get it wrong, and they think early in their business, I need to focus on efficiency and getting more efficient with my time. But that's actually the wrong approach, because you have 40 hours a week or 50 or 60 or 70 hours a week that you're putting in, and you can only do so much to be more efficient with the time that you've got. Expansion automatically doubles the amount of time that you have to work with. And so you need to focus on efficiency a little bit when you're by yourself. But the truth is, you need to look at the milestone that says, look, I have more opportunity than I can handle, or I have opportunity I'm not able to tap into because I don't have the resources to do it. And then it takes just a leap of faith. Now, one of the first things that I did when I was growing my team is I started by hiring people through a temp agency. Now, there's a couple of reasons why. One of them is you have an easier time if the person doesn't work out. The truth is, when you hire an assistant, when you hire somebody on your team, you may not be used to hiring and managing people and leading them. And also, you may not be used to the actual interview process and how to pick the right person. And we often look for the wrong things in somebody when we're trying to pick who the right person is. We're looking a lot at people like us because people like to be around people like themselves. But you need to focus on somebody who fills the void, can do the things that you're not good at or that you don't want to do. So that's what you're looking for. But how you hire them, a good step is to go through a temp agency, a staffing agency. First of all, depending upon the state that you're in, you may have a contractual agreement if you're actually hiring somebody direct. California is an at-will employment state. And so based in California. I know California rules really well. And so I can hire somebody and I can let them go and terminate them. I might have to pay unemployment, but it is at will. Both parties have to agree that they want to continue employment. If one doesn't want to, then they're gone. but you still have unemployment to deal with. You have reputational risks to deal with. And so and also the truth is you've got onboarding costs, and you've got all the costs of getting them set up with everything. And are you going to do health benefits or not? Sometimes going through a staffing agency is better. You do pay a premium to the staffing agency. Maybe 30, 40, 50% of the employee's salary is tacked on again as the staffing agency's overhead. But you're going to pay close to that anyway, because you're going to pay, if you hired them direct, you're going to pay a little bit less, but you're still going to pay for payroll taxes, and you're going to pay unemployment insurance and your disability, and you're going to pay all of these things that ultimately the staffing agency covers for you, and they find the person. They make it way easier for you to bring somebody on board. Look, if it doesn't work out, you call the staffing agency and say, this didn't work out. I need to go a different direction. I need a different person. I need somebody that's part-time instead of full-time. By the way, I'm a huge proponent of hiring somebody full-time. I think hiring a part-time employee, you're limiting the pool of people that you can choose from. And so you have a smaller pool, because the best applicants, in my opinion, are looking for, hey, I want to work full-time. Now, there's an argument to be made that there's some really good people that only want to work part-time. But the truth is, depending upon the nature of your work, a lot of times part-time work creates more challenges, because you have somebody that you want to fill this role, to do these duties, yet they're not there all the time. And so when they're not there, who has to do it? You do. And so does that solve the problem, or does that create a different problem? And now you're going to have to jump back into something because that part-time person isn't there. So I'm a huge fan of part-time people. I'm a huge fan of starting out with a temp agency. It makes it easier in the onboarding process. It makes it easier if it's not the right person. And the truth is, trying to find the time to interview people and to put out advertisements or social media posts, that's sometimes hard to find somebody. And so let the staffing agency do that, and that's what they get paid for. You do your job of running your business while they're in the process of finding you somebody to send over to you. In many of those situations, you can become you can make them be a temp to perm. You have to do a certain number of hours that is paid through the staffing agency. You could often buy out the staffing agency contract if you really like the person and you want to give them the comfort and security of being a full-time employee. There's lots of flexible ways for you to handle this. But I will tell you that the biggest thing is the leap of faith. The biggest thing is deciding, you know what? I am beating my head against the wall. Maybe you're making good revenue, good profit, but you're working way too many hours. And so you need to offload some of those hours. Maybe it's just you're not able to get it all done, and you know that there's business being left on the table, and you have a reputational risk there because you're out there trying to drum up business and you have business coming in. And sometimes you just need the help with marketing. Sometimes as a professional coach, I coach other loan officers across the country. And sometimes I look at somebody and say, look, you're doing enough business consistently, but I'm looking at your lead trackers. We track how many leads we get in and where they come from and what the outcome is of every lead. We know our numbers. We follow everything from a statistical perspective because we're business people. You have to run your business like a business. You have to know your numbers. You have to know your metrics. And I look at them and I say, look, you're just not out enough. You're doing too much of the work. And if you just get out of the office and do more marketing, you actually can bring in more business that will more than pay for the person you're bringing in to help you do the work. Oftentimes, a business owner, a solopreneur, thinks the work is the technical work. That is sometimes true, but often the most important work is actually nurturing the business, finding the deals, finding the leads, sales. Sales is in lots of businesses very much overlooked because the solopreneur looks at them as the technician. You can hire a technician. You can hire a salesperson. You can hire anybody. The only thing, you can delegate anything in your business except the final responsibility for the job getting done right. The buck stops with you. So as you grow and as you get assistance, just remember, you are delegating, not abdicating. The difference, delegating, you give a task, you follow up on the outcome. Don't micromanage, follow up on the outcome and don't abdicate. Don't say, I don't know, that was their fault. I talked to one of my students last week and they said, well, I don't know, the report's wrong because my assistant, it's her fault, she didn't get it right. And I said, it is not her fault, it is yours. You turned in the homework to me and it wasn't done correctly. It is 100% your fault. This student abdicated responsibility and said, I don't know, it's not my fault, she's not doing her job. It is your fault they're not doing their jobs. It is challenging to grow a team. It is challenging to add staff. But let's be clear, it's challenging to be an entrepreneur. It's challenging to run your own business, but all of the rewards are absolutely amazing. And you have to go through the journey to get to the rewards. And this is one more step in the journey. Hey guys, thanks so much for listening to the first half. There'll be a quick commercial break, and then I'll get started on the second half, where we'll talk about assistance and helping you purchase your first home. Hey everybody, I want to take a quick time out from our show to remind you about my rent qualifier loan. If you are looking to build your real estate portfolio and you have gone through the process before buying rental properties, you know it's a tedious process of looking at everything, and that isn't required anymore. Check out my rent qualifier loan, where we simplify the process and you get similar interest rates with a lot more flexibility simply by looking at the rental income of the property you're buying or refinancing compared to the mortgage payment. So for more information, reach out to us by calling us at 85 Loan King. That's 855-626-5464, or go to 85loanking.com/RQ. Hey everybody, welcome back. So we're going to start the second half of our program, and this is all about growing wealth through real estate. Now, I will tell you that a lot of people, their number one challenge is coming up with the money for a down payment. And I will tell you, especially right now, it is summer of 2025, we are seeing more and more assistance programs coming out, and they're at the statewide level, the local county municipality level, and the city level. And there's some amazing amounts of money that are going untapped. So the first thing that I will tell you is down payment assistance can get you into a home with zero down payment, but you still have to pay closing costs. Some programs have money to help you with closing costs, but it comes at a cost. Very few programs are free money. So you're not getting free money to buy a house. What you're getting is into home ownership sooner. If you waited until you save enough money to come up with your down payment, by the way, even if you're not a first-time home buyer, you can buy a house with as little as 3.5% down payment, sometimes 5% down. So it isn't really that much of a down payment, but for some people, they have the income, but they don't have the monthly, the upfront money to pay it. A couple good examples, I've got some business owners that they say, John, I'm paying for my office location, I'm paying for my rent at my apartment, and I'm paying for a storage facility for my business equipment. And if I just bought a home, I could put all three of those things together into one, and I'd have one payment. I could afford a high payment, but I can't save money each month because I'm putting money out into all of these three areas. That allows the down payment assistance program is perfect for those situations, because what it does is it allows you to essentially pay for your down payment as part of your monthly payment on the mortgage. Now, interest rates right now are on the higher end. We're looking at, high sixes to mid sevens in most situations. And what you're going to find a lot of times is the more assistance you get for a down payment, the higher the interest rate. Now, there's some really cool regional programs that isn't true. But a lot of the statewide housing authority programs, they come with higher interest rates when you're getting greater amounts of assistance. It's a trade-off, but you start gaining equity immediately. You start having the opportunity to get tax write-offs immediately. And so down payment assistance comes in many, many different formats. Most of the time, it is going to be more expensive in interest rate or fee than if you had your own money for a down payment. So I encourage people, if you're thinking about down payment assistance, whether you are a business owner, which most people on this podcast are, or you're not a business owner, the fact is, start with your family. See if you have a family member, grandma, that's willing to give you an early access to your inheritance. Family loans, family gifts are better than down payment assistance programs. If you have money that you can put towards a down payment, you're usually better off doing that, unless there's a trade-off that says, well, I really need that money to help fund growth in my business. And so if I put it towards a home, I can't grow my business. In that case, I'd say forego the down payment money, leave that for your business, and go with down payment assistance. One of the key things, though, that I want to point out is in this podcast, I talk a lot about alternative ways to prove your income. And there are amazing ways that we can prove income for business owners that don't require tax returns. But when we're doing down payment assistance, we have to use your tax returns. As a matter of fact, all of these amazing scenarios we have of alternatives require a minimum of 10% down, sometimes 15 or 20. So if you're looking at small down payment, we have to look at your tax returns. The good news is a lot of the programs operate off of Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac's guidelines, And those guidelines say that if you've owned your business for more than 5 years, I only need to look at the most recent profit on the most recent tax return. So I don't need a 2-year average, which means if you haven't filed your taxes for this year, if you're on extension, we can file this year and make it look great, and that's all we need. If this year doesn't look great, we can set a game plan to have you ready next year. Have you ready to purchase when you file your taxes the following year? So right now we're in summer of 2025. So we'd be looking at spring of 2026. You file your taxes with a good amount of profit, as long as at the time you're buying a home, you've been owning that business for more than 5 years, and we're doing a conventional down payment assistance loan, then I only need the 1 year of tax returns. If you've been owning your business for less than 5 years, or if we're doing an FHA or VA or USDA program, I have to have 2 years of tax returns showing your business profit over those 2 years averaged together. Now, there's lots of things that we look at on your taxes that are nuanced on certain things that we care a lot about and certain things we don't care about. So if you have questions about your taxes, get with a trusted lender. I'm interviewing for that job. So if you have questions and you want to reach out to me, I would be honored to have the opportunity to talk through your taxes and help you strategize, whether it's to help you qualify today for down payment assistance or get you ready to qualify in the future. I'm looking forward to being here and taking great care of you. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Please on whatever platform you're on, leave a review, share this with anybody that you know that is a business owner or looking to grow their real estate portfolio. I cover lots of different topics every single week, and I look forward to being here to guide you through your journey from profits to properties.